Ali we're live.
Assalamu alaikum bari la melalu ngali konto ngali bismillah bitilo kibaro te jangal lal bari malom falli federa ngali konto bi arjumo November karotili muwanning kilingola mbenyin samo men kono alnal bari malom falli federa ni Ibrahima Sonko ko ndalta ka kinyamin alala jumo juma anin asinya saba lokmo fanan kono nkana le jang nka kacha ke ko la men yalon ko wolel be kerin bitilo la gambe banko kam fanal bela ko kuma yalon ko ako ko ye gambe no sura aka fentime alon ko katake ngana nga ko kacha nimmolu kana mol men yalon ko lonnal muyte londol lukata koluto ni kana ka kol kacha bidum mbewo nyong ben sifala to jambi ko nga fa nyamen kankularo to nga meniken nyin kunun nimbi somanda kan nga luntam buñari ballel soto jang men yalon ko wollel kafuta mabbi bitiloto andum lafta men kacala bi wollel mu kolti men yalon ko ibe dending president koto jammela kankularo la menke ko abe silolo nikanne pour kamburna Gambia banko kan wo sorata num nsafo almost calculating commento kabin tumo menna adiamata num APRC kanunte wali anin at president Jammeh kanunte wolu kanila sato kono dementi yalon ko ay kankularo ko kaitan ditolla anin dunya be la ko ahamoni mem wole mu pour kamburna Gambia banko kan ala wulu banko anda itandi fanan ko o bekela ni November karin ne kono me alon ko bulata wala kono tay so tili tango tuta ni November la bango tema wayat na fangaje ko abe kumala le pour ngana nan nga kachake ko le men alon ko wolel be ni wala ngalunta wal men so jambi kam mako wo kachato ko nga fa nyama ni Ibrahima Sonko le be jang Ibrahima Sonko be jang babula la se mol konto ñaar demandi bari inse na lunta wal fo molie ise long wolel mu membe alla bulba karola sando wole mu ex-Magistate senior counsel Lamin Mbaye keta moti me alon ko nana keta no magistrate odi Banjul city council mole me alon ko luala karola ka mama wolta ko faham sako lual men alon ko ibe dending Gambia la kola Lamin aketa nye kontanu se odi kesoro mbe bismillah la programme odo membe Lamin kola ngamen soto dumala mba ntela screen o kote je demandi wole mu Lamin Tamba keta moti me alon ko Gambia dingola be sabatiring Angleterre banko kam mole me alon ko dabe num APRC la executive kono la num keta moti me alon ko president Yahya Jammeh anala APRC patio fasa la lemu aketa moti me alon ko afanan aka dadum kujama lelto ngaje ko fango Angleterre ji abe kujama lelto men yalon ko anyabo warta bake bari bi nga soto nan jammen na wole mu puru nasina nga kacake ko le men yalon ko wolle be den ni kankularo la ko nga fa nyamen president Yahya Jammeh menke anim fanam be kumol men moy kan kabo Jammeh la fasara la karola atala miro mu menti wo kankularo ta na nyum fensifa ko tol mo sabanjango membe kafulam ma nyaatu demandi wole mu Omar Wally fanam mu Gambia no dolti abe sabadiring America New York BBC la correspondent le mada anito lel ka do ko ke mbaade fanan sot la nyaata demanding ku kilimo lembe wala kacala atani president Yahya Jammeh la ko so mbaade ko nga fa nyame nyin lel mu luntamol tinga men sotale jambi hamoning ndino nin sawo momenti wala mu puru nga kacha kono fanundi nga karo bejibe karol men bebe dending atani president Yahya Jammeh la kankularo la ay menke ko abe murula nan kana gambe banko kan tilitan wala ben November la bango tema so wo ko be la bulomento la faka wala kacha Ibrahima mbebula lay ni mol senyo kondo ndiro ko la dron sina bula kacha kono
abaraka bake mfalli fadera abaraka bake na bitilo kibarolu na fansol mumi ani na audience momo kam follow dawda mba fulale ko mbal bismillah la bitilo kibarodo mba fulan koto fulal Mr. Mbaye aning Mr. Tamba fana mba fulale ko mbal tentula mbal jela alla najambi pour nga kacha kula mi alon ka dending Gambia kula la because kon ka fa nyame wato wari dolan to lañum platform mbika mo jibe mbika politique jibe mbika si jibe nka jibe Gambian ko laje ando ngala na fanan ko nte nyo jelano nte nyo fahamna no fonga kacha den kula mi yalan ko hormone mbunya ani nga kacha fanan with an understanding that nata mimben dolbe kuma wolon Gambia so mbafla le ko ala baraka melbem follow ka radio dani online fanan mbafla le ko na YouTube platform oldo also subscribe na YouTube to purale ke mo follow de milba kala mo dal nin kacha nata non don ko min kala na platform ol fanan mbe ko Instagram anin TikTok anin Facebook also subscribe mo meto anin fanan alias share alla midal mo min di fanan na comment section ol fanan nan question ol fanan bi jale mil solo also drop je fanan janin kacha be banda ni wato so to nin ala sonda benna lunta ol nyinin kala o nyinin kala lol lale hopefully sem mako jabirol fanan Barin safla le ko dorang alsa si ali boto demanding kachata ngana walan demanding ke. So mafula na luntawol fane Mr. Mbaye as a mol kontong and Lamin fane as a mol kontong then se dun kachani kon.
Okay, ntutumu Lamin little Lamin Mbaye fanam bota Gambia nata America jang 2014. You know, actually I Manda America jang voluntarily. I was already a magistrate. Mang resigned. I wasn't fired. Imang resigned for now, you know. So walatin Manda jang voluntarily. But before me now, after American visa I was intending purkanan jang holiday la. But holiday nata ke state a kilinke. I end up with asylum in America for a green card bundinu. In 2014. Before me, I was I was the principal magistrate in Banjul. You know, new title Lenata because Mang resigned, Mang fire at that time, just circumstances right now politically. So Natajan. Bijang up to now, Ninam zoning 5 children, Dinde Lulu Ningole Bijang. No will be Bondinang Gambia. Killing our sort of young, not for no old bonding and Gambia, ni Bama, then killing our sort of America young. So up till now, the new will be school right now. So
Alhamdulillah.
Anyway, thank you for the program, inviting me to the program. I was a legal legal studies beke Gambia, nga back Gambia, nga University ke Gambia, being the law school, graduated from Gambia Law School. We were the first batch of Gambia Law School. University of the Gambia, Fanang, I was part of the first people in the law school with people like the current minister, Dauda Jallo, Minister of Justice, now the class in Ndole University, Kumasenyola, some prominent people like Edward Singate.
Yeah.
Newell Baby class in presently you have some high court judges, Landing Sane, and in Momodu SM Jallo. SM Jallo, I remember he was involved in one high-profile case. So
yeah.
Well, being on a classmate, we were in University of the Gambia for 4 years, being president 1 year at Gambia Law School. Yeah, pioneers. We were the pioneers of Gambia law students, you know. So
thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Sama me adila nkoto Lamin fanana ani mo senyo kontong then falli sa dun kachako.
Okay, mbal konton da mbe falling konton na aning Ibrahima aning fang koto ma Lamin Bay mbal konton na bake aning Bitilo mfamata Gambia politiko la nko bi sena because nga Bitilo la platform o yela ka Kenya men kabirum falli ya fo nya didn't have any questions because atole Gambia silo alkawle tamandi almantara mola side membe Gambia kono alkawle diamo aketa Gambia kole yakoti alsa diamo aketa Gambia kontanoti alsa ko diamo so I bring invite nyen natam ko sena purum fanan na miralon sa kafunyen kachato. So the thing is mo jamaayante long APRC la because fen kadiamo APRC bantala Gambia banko la bantala banko to ka fo ko international media Inteleka responding on behalf of President Yahya on behalf of the APRC. Yo kabrin 2017 kana 2021 war international media ye nyalo President Yahya come back because of the member care no time. But fango mu fonyi dingolati graduate high school tata Gambia College School of Public Health. Qualified as a public health officer. B alhamdulillah polio lem, yellow fever lem, mumps lem, measles lem, rubella lem, ntolla bajile a kelenunjang anin sembo because School of Public Health ni benunje ika kedo kulaleti at the same time as a student. It's a bit like apprenticeship. So immunization no wata mon tolle kataka kenundul alto. Taring fo mfatata dameng yellow fever cases all are rare. Polio natanga eradicate Gambia between 1997 kata 2001. Your yellow fever killing drone na manjara no wala mi UDP ti boy yellow fever do nyi mota sale sasa ma yo so yeah veto nyandiro la ko mbat nga UDP mama ndi demanding okay so mbota Gambia nata na Angleterre kan na londo kafo nata na public health change to environmental health nata ke environmentalist oti jang UK jang specialized environmental pollution la either that's contaminated land, air pollution, noise, vibration, private water supplies, and things like that. Then natata law school fananga lua karandomanding, nga lua fanandoku sanji killing karifula nata bula. Murunta public administration be masakunda do ko la jang. But nata APRC bula le nung July nga resentale nung na international media palaso nyento because of namaka mole nata wara jambake nata promote jam from for the senior management UK government administration so eco into any executive palaso mutanola political party to because of the nature of my job. So nata resign from na political party position note wo wato konon malangi mune for President Jammeh la tamo men na resignation of fotaje afutatama ako Lamin Tamba fana na expel APRC bon tanga menje je walam mole ku jawol faye men man soto because mol kala file yela kullo foye wa bi ba mola le ko palaso yem promotement to UK government it bans political party activity whether in Gambia wala jang it a political party position no because the appointment now has become political ni fotata UK civil service la certain rank solto ibuka political party. Politically, I can participate because I'm on a fundamental right, but I cannot identify as an executive member of a political party. Yo, what will be? Fem be Gambia ko kono President Jammeh na animbe fem kachala na London dingo man soto je. Na lamor lal ba mo woto be lamor lal fanan tentula be jayla alia wato menta kana kasi jankal lamo ala baraka bake. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lamin. Ilo sinandiro kumara bakele. I was even going to that to help us clarify. But bawo ifamaya amale, the fact that jeko President Koto Jammeh mulmen bainum patio kono ngamira yeto kejele. But just also ka confirm you're still affiliated with the party. You still support APRC.
Yes, the ideology is still APRC is the party that I support right now.
Okay, thank you.
But for me personally, it's more about Gambia than APRC. Thank you.
Than APRC. Thank you. Aparaka baki Lamin. So me kacha follow le telela. Lafta nga follow demendo coming yasata nyaming. Hani bibi APRC la call kono. Tumando bado ila kacha almen kake platform molto lalto ini mol ka nyomo ila hani bi patio kono. La fake nyininga men na kacha nyindari specifically. What is it that you are hearing? Ibe muna moy kang APRC patio dingol bulu about Yahya Jammeh nyinako. Do you think that they really believe that genuinely that Jammeh is going to come, is going to return in about 10 days or in this month? Because we have like 10 days left.
So nte kame moy party to, aning amang keko nkame moy drone them. Party supporters all be busy in neka preparation all ke pour nim President Jammeh nata. Mba bendu na nyameng, mba jia la nyameng, mansa kundanim President Jammeh bedo ko kenola nyameng going forward. Bo bebe kakanne konoto APRC konoto ani ngalom fanang APRC molso to la mele alonko maybe ni masakunda be diamo kam mawolong bare supporters all ya believe le 100% ko President Jammeh binala le lungo menna binala ana binala nyamen ma wole long because President Jammeh ma for APRC dingol ako ni wato fongo sutiata nan aba fola supporters all ye ala tama nyabe kala nyamen lungo menna bina wato menna bina bare President Jammeh momenti amanke ko mome yalan ko asenano tenting multa kalamta be kolyala sa keno bara be kolyala le because ni keta mansa kewti sinya killing e keta mansa kewality for faw bo buka boyto and banko keta dame mansa kewti for adiate le bang fa ku yate le bang it will be secure for the rest of your life. It had to do la mansa kundame mbije wala be security provide la nakete official duty fanandila. It will be taman nyani fengol be dile la bo APRC supporters all believe 100% ko President Jammeh bina because among mulahi defender amanna ke bare yalo quand même fo moka fole ala fanan kala doku kele on the other side and ala la doku le kala bang bo we 100% believe ko abinala le before end of November. Yeah,
but Lamin, lafake nyininga damendo. Allah believe alias sembe menna because this is not the first time that nga kankularo moy ko Yahya Jammeh binale. This was way before Janin Kate for Besil in 2021. Janung sinya Jama Jamela welcoming back, also build the data, Bengal Sorota and everything. So I just want to understand if you can help us and the listeners, Purka understand member mutaring patio dingolo bulu, ninko patio dingolo, I'm talking about APRC. Why do you think it's different this time?
It's different this time because more ka wuli non nek e ka foko President Yahya bina nkatala welcoming homecoming rally le organize nkatala nyine rally le organize kata ka fo ECOWAS African Union ani UN ko President Yahya nyanta nala le al nyanta silo bondila le but President Yahya fango nene ma fo moye that time ko ha binala le in August wala binala le in December and then ma fo no moye before. This is the first time at a fango diamota ko mole ko mbinalale before end of November. Yeah, moile. But that's why this time round supporters all even Melmanke APRC supporters all many Gambians are energized. Yeah, mo ko binala rek dula be jijata one time. So the difference is what more ntolle ka wuli nun ka fako mbitala homecoming rally organize la mbitala nyim program sifa organize la bo President Yahya fango nene ma fono moye ko mbinala le nyin kari nangam nyin date nangam and nene ma fono this time round it's different because ako before end of November bina but President Yahya mo hada madingol ning Adam Barrow ka ko okay sang Dakota ko bina bare pour que la security dada nyama anila accommodation you have to wait till the 5th of December wala 15th of December abe batunale you understand le because adiata President Jammeh amandia President Jammeh adiata Adam Barrow amandia Adam Barrow President Jammeh mo Gambia dingolati bankute dunia kono that turns away their citizen if you do it you're doing it illegally because citizen yinta kenola statement nae anything keme mandia then you can sort that one out they say ojube no but nako abina because of our status momenti bankola nyantolem pour ka receive peacefully ka security provided and until they mena it only feng offense of President Jammeh to until that day moy ko court ko the jury ko guilty feng offense mo ex-presidential benefit as enshrined in our constitution nyanta o dilal moy le so this time round molia believe bakale because of President Jammeh fangola fo. So that's why preparation will be caring pour receive nanata. Thank you.
Okay. Ibrahim is going to come in a bit with a question. And I just want to press you on one point that you mentioned. You mentioned that Gambia Dingolemu, he has the right to come back. I think there's no dispute about that. The fact that Gambia, if you want to come to Gambia, the doors should be open. But you can understand that Atala case is slightly different in the sense that just like Yahya Jammeh, he's the former president. And that there are very serious allegations against him. Coupled with the fact that we had a truth and reconciliation process me alonko kujamal beje many alonko jamme man songala aman nimiso express about them. So I guess that's one thing that I wanted to seek your opinion on before Ibrahim comes.
Tonyale allegation all ketale allegation all bijele still Mansakunda can still investigate or advance those allegations on. It's after no President Jammeh ko afota janne ko itele nyinne ke woto mbe charge la for XYZ. Womo Mansakunda la prerogative lati. Wo Martin na President Jammeh tina hanna ketala passport expire mo se travel no by travel document o kadada in the space of 30 minutes 1 hour. So allegation on nata after ka landia nyato they can do that but reconciliation on nanata complete la nim platform man provide President Jammeh fango si animole kacha so President Jammeh na is another opportunity na kita more after to bring a closure to ala case sol barole nyantala na facilitate la aina ya kacha whether they're going to have an interview with him like they did to other witnesses foi ba kala kudo leti bang I na drong animole kacha, then we take the country forward. Na it's almost like hanna kita alia trial in absentia. Wo question no better like ha ya samba court la ataraja. Jumale alon fo ya tapalele tamandi o court case to for manket ya tamanda nyamale. Those questions will still linger. So na kita reconciliation no nyem puru mole full reconciliation soto. President Jammeh na lebo sabu nola. Puru reconciliation yake moja mala case ni membije was a close no.
Ibrahim, go ahead.
Yes. So I mean baraka bake lafe nyinin kalale. Obviously yalo ne loi karanne ntenga loi domanding karanne aning uncle Mbaye fanam bija loi fanam karan domanding kel. Ndeni be yalo nako at the end of the day fanam Jammeh ko is very critical, but also the concept of reconciliation cannot be a substitute for justice. Yeah, you get very clearly ko Jammeh coming mansakunda abelalo blokono, but Jammeh represents for some people Jammeh, especially alleged victim soul, he represents trauma, some of those people, because of some of the allegations ko ay minke wala dol fal father, dol bal father, karam da dinol minke to kudo anin kujama dal allegation, you know, and for some people, some segment of the society dol bije Jammeh hani bi babile mansale madi molo mi yalon ko ilaftala le kendeke mo jama ka jele ko kujama le ke banko. So let's how do we reconcile these two? That on one hand, to hold Jammeh accountable for the alleged violations I milk, and in two, also in competing stakeholders, including APRC supporters, left Jammeh la kendeke left la sen and Gambia.
Yeah, so first and foremost, matinga dati Jammeh la fenkoto, combien même for victims sol bijele modul la fetala. More lafita justice la modul ba support can still. So nga Jammeh la ko jube nyameng. Let's start with security situation because nga mo ka foko ala na is a security threat. 100% understand trauma. The victims Melia Lonko, they're genuine victims of his government, and government is to know Melia Lonko, you will not have victims. But genuine victims of his government, they will have trauma and totally understand that having done personnel management and manage people all my life since childhood. I know for a fact ko ni mo bad experience soto, that emotion is reinforced much stronger than a positive experience sometimes. It can follow ko ila emotional experience, if it's negative, in for the rest of your life, most of it. So with those victims, I 100% sympathize with, because it will be disingenuous for 22 years, I'm more wrong. Hani Mansakunda membije for 1 year, ni oxygen bantaloptan auto, and you have no genuine reason why among oxygen supply auto. That is negligence on behalf of the government. Ni more farther from where? From that situation, the government should be sued for it. You understand? But Jammeh fangomu peaceful moleti. And naketa Jammeh manke peaceful moti. Tendum be Mbekacha menke can be regarding the Gambia would have been different. Maybe Mbe Sierra Leone experience or Mbe Ole dia Kachala B. Maybe Liberia experience Mbe Ole Kachala B. Molka fole ko Jammeh boritale because of ECOWAS leko iba attackla. Maybe. Because more malo membe mo kungo kono wala miro kono. But na konum tita dula tendum be maybe we're still in a civil war for all you know. So where it and like Jammeh is a peaceful person. And Jammeh la audio be moy, ala diamo be moy. Aka fole ko bankola tanko is paramount. It's very important. So ala na is not going to threaten anybody. Trauma nyinga, I understand that it's going to happen. It's going to trigger people. Already it's triggering people jandi bajela. Especially Niaje. But I have a feeling Gambia la majority still will give Jammeh an open door for him to return.
Okay. So,
majority, because of Munabe caring, Gambia be nundamem kunung, and in Gambia be damem B, Mole Ajeleko, yes, Gambia was the quality of livelihoods that we had before Barrow came, and in B, Afatata Bakele. So a lot of Gambians say, okay, yes, Molko President Jammeh XYZ, but at a time more, a lot of things the men face can be in Buka face nun Jammeh Latamo. So this is why people still welcoming Puruna Natarek it's good for Banko Nyingi reconcile once and for all nga unite nga tanga Banko do ko nyama.
But
Lamin, I'm gonna okay, Ibrahim, go ahead.
So Lamin, are you saying ila position is that reconciliation, or but reconciliation to sort of take the place of rule of law and accountability in the sense of okay, ning allegation will be the proman sakunda so wala nga lua lata nyaming in terms of some of the allegations belarin Jamaica. You know, or are you just saying reconciliation mansakunda and the focus the world completely?
I think Abedam and B, it will be difficult to conclude because Malong Jammeh be munafola naketa iba interview lale wala he'll have a testimony idea mo. But from Bedam and B looking at the situation, I think accountability nyanta kelale 100% accountability for the result lale in prosecuting Jammeh or not. Accountability nyanta kelale molia long juma wolle munke so that we don't experience the same thing again. All right? Wanyanta kelale. So whether wobekela prosecution or till later is a different matter. Bontenga menjije wolem. Mol sita TRC le ikontelenga nyini but they're walking freely on Gambian soil.
It's true.
Yeah, jele. So therefore, going forward, accountability nyanta kelale 100%. Ngalong jumale muneke. For tonya President Jammeh ya tumi menna I londo sotale jele bang for at participate tale in the pre-planning or participate tale in the act or participate tale in the cover-up. We just want to know that. Ya jele. Na bota wato nga si nga jube kom banku doli ya kenyameng nga alfatia ta nyoe nga Gambia la nyato bindi we build the nation. If naketa government ko or there's compelling evidence by prosecutor or to government bonte fe reconciliation all be frankly because Gambia be dameng san cool dunta nyoko like and the people melko ntelanga nyini ke without President Jammeh metal key barola masakunda mantera all prosecutor so if a Jammeh nyini la munela but we don't know Jammeh be munafola so it's difficult pour ka foko ha nyanta prosecutor ni Jammeh natala ko ha nga kali de mem fatante ngalo ntelanga mol key ko altalia for no just cause. Then the state will say, all right, the evidence is too strong, too compelling. It depends.
Okay. Lamin, I think two things. I am tempted to bring Mr. Njai, but Lamin Mbaye. I just want you to address a couple of issues, then I bring Mbaye in.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think people watching would say, you know, maybe ika cool Sonia Ninyameng Amantara Wenyama.
Yeah.
In the sense that, okay, Tonyala truth consideration process less sorada, more natale fintide diamuda. But what is making all of this complicated and difficult is the fact that we've heard from Jammeh so many times, but we have never had him address the issues at the TRRC, the allegations against him. He has never addressed remorse. And the man some form, maybe Nana Ranum from I4. I tend to more like, okay, maybe ngakele with the wrong information or whatever. I don't want to excuse whatever behavior menkeda. But the problem is we have not heard from Jammeh about this. He does not seem to sound remorseful about it. And still not diameter, he sounds very threatening. You know, it's about I'm gonna come binale adiatalia manna ninata mentamu Gambia tal balo nale. So I think you can understand why people are anxious about his coming back. And then just like you rightly said, I'm also to be many alonko hanibi ya kanule. We are aware, allegedly, that there are still people in the security forces, many alonko, they are very loyal to him up to this day. So wale mumola problem you can understand, I believe, why people are anxious, and you know, the vast majority of, at least based on the comments in Kamenja online, a lot of people don't want him to come, at least not now. Because Nana, as it's a recipe for chaos and violence. Can you understand that?
Yeah, I understand that, but I think 100% Momoko Jamela na represents chaos and violence. Wamari be molesilan de kandrong. I think 100%. Nim President Jammeh Nata and the states takes responsibility of providing him security. And in maybe I have some accommodation or they give him accommodation. There'll be absolutely nothing else that's going to happen apart from the fact that Tonya Nata, a lot of people will suddenly start heading towards our arrival to welcome him back. That's not going to threaten anybody's security. The state ninja mele nyanta di amola, and look at how it's going to come. So mol nying ibe mem fokanko Jammeh has no express remorse. Jammeh man platform mo soto. Among opportunities soto since abota mansayato. Abe diamola damen candidly ya nyinin ka questionola. WhatsApp diamo ning campaign time diamo mama candela campaign is totally different from Ninen Jammeh Sita, and you have a formal meeting and you ask him questions about the allegations leveled against him.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think that's a very, very good point. I had the lead counsel of the TRRC here, Esafal,
yeah.
and then I asked why Jammeh was not at the TRRC.
Yeah.
You know, I reason Mendy. I think I will leave that to the lawyers.
Come
But
down
thank
for
God,
the
the lawyers
problem,
of the Jammeh,
Yeah.
I told them lawyer
Are you with us?
but most of the Jammeh me alonko amunung, you know, a practicing legal person lady, ex-magistrate Lamin Mbaye, pour mol meni alonko be kafukam majan sainteng. Lamin Mbaye was the principal magistrate at the Banjul Magistrates Court. I do KJ for so many years. Bankola high profile cases Jamal el Furatama Wato Menabinje. Nada for be lunkili wati jibe la na murna ngana la life and times jibe ala doko at the Magistrates Court. But Mr. Senior Counsel Mbaye, the question that I have for you stems from Lamin Tamba Kumakangolu, but also from the general reconciliation and transitional process me along Konga Soto since Jammeh left. You know, TRRC Ketele, there were people, you know, state sanctions assassins more many along ko iko itol ka faro leken bankoye the junglers most of them came out
junglers, exactly.
Specify that, you know, they were asked to kill, they were asked to torture people kamo liba kam anin ka tajirin dalin ku jamal ke meni alon ko ibela ta bankewro so andala fagede nyinin kamen la loi kodo. Is there a case against Jammeh that we know of today based on everything else that has taken place since he has left, from the TRRC to Tumirolo Molka Memory and everything else, even the economic crimes at the Jammeh Commission level? Is there a case loi kodo molise mellano Jammeh kam misal fe nana ragambe bankoka?
Yes, exactly. Camera case BJ Jammeh la situation, or there is a case against Jammeh based on the TRRC findings. Yalon TRRC yela investigation okele yela findings kele yela report safele. So based on that TRRC findings and the government white paper, along during TRRC period, the government white paper prepare based on the findings of the TRRC, ibe ming acceptla and in imanta ming acceptla. So based on the white paper, accept there is a case against Yahya Jammeh, cases of torture, disappearance, murder, maybe model father, mili along ko TRRC la findings, they are directly linked to Jammeh as the head of the government and also the commander of the Gambia Armed Forces. So, in coming year, jugglers mentioned. But before me, that all those Tamba Kafunung Jamina Nata or Nabinanang is going to trigger a lot of people. Wobekela politically, ala supporters all bijele, ala party supporters all bijele, and also ala Molmi ya Kanu, being abe President Yala. Wolbe Wulilale Purka welcome, not everybody, because you have victims also la side la. Ning discussion sifa bekela victims la side is very important. Just like the other time nga mo sabali ba foka nyame victim mo la karola. But white paper bijele ni along I TRRC la findings will accept it. And that is legal. Wodama white paper is a legal document right now. So white people like Carola Jami say try no nata in a court of law. And in ECOWAS la hybrid court. ECOWAS is gonna set up a hybrid court. Court Nyingima set up follow, and there is going to be a special prosecutor for that case, for that court. New special prosecutor identified court Nyimbe established lale. So there are things going on legally. Me alone ning Jammeh nata about legal issue in trigalale. It's not just going to be an ordinary citizen linkana. Because ala support so jama ikamin for iko MOU. I will sign before Abita. That MOU will a guarantee prior nanang. But Niajibe Ismail Assise, Dr. Ismail Assise, Gambia government spokesman, Minister of Information, ako that MOU ma guarantee immunity la. Immunity means na nata mota mutala mota samala court moma guarantee wala. Even President Adamo Barrow abenying meet the people to ate fanamba foka moliele abe to min na ten ko jame mang immunity soto. Moma guarantee diala ko na nata Gambia mota mutala amo immunity soto. So ala supporto sol ko wolle forek. But already there is a mechanism in place. Ninja menata, TRRC la findings bijele, government la white paper bijele, ECOWAS la nying hybrid court will be bijele iba batukan. Puna nata legally iba la process ke la nyaming. Ka make sure he is held accountable.
Nina da
Ibrahima?
Mr. Mbaye.
Yes.
National Assembly, Kabrim Falewon Yinkeda, Kabrim 2016. Gambia government law in kono a constitutional immunity delay, right, to former president. Wo lafta wo amal lafta wo mal laf wo mu kachal mi yaron fo mo fanan soto. So it doesn't make the case so easy like black and white, right? Aka ko ni gana koleni baba ke so nga sembo nyi soto no kabrim fale won yinketa ko luwa nyi fale. Kaje ko nim president bota man sayala. Na ku mi yaron ko an luwa silo manta. Say hold no accountable, especially in the context of crimes of international nature. Now, although you can fully call crimes of international nature, Nico Sifalke, it immune no from ila local legislation. For example, Ningambe Luakoko, President Onaya Kukuno, Golena Tajinte Manyake, Mota Assemble no Lua to Pruka Busa. But international law ko in the Kohani Oma Mata, Neo crime Sifalke. But to make the case that Muna no falling be man can be niaje jambela mol fobo argument sifa kila kafoko jamesi saying because rightly so lua leofo ko as a muruna no because lua ya leko moda sambo no code Gambia. So the question becomes fondol me Gambia lua mole taman labang for international law, which Gambia is part of the international community for mole talabang itala mo automate.
Yo, ni Mr. Mbaye pareta auto nse finance demanding kafuje. Go ahead, Mr. Mbaye. Yeah,
both sides, international law be apply la jame la dameng wolem nying hybrid ECOWAS hybrid court coming for it. Hybrid court is going to involve Gambian legal experts. Abe Gambian also to lale, abe international lawyers or international experts or judges also to lale. Wolem the international party hybrid ECOWAS hybrid court because ECOWAS found international among one country. So through the ECOWAS hybrid court, Jammeh said try nole in the Gambia or any other ECOWAS country. We have precedents. Hisenabre, Hisenabre case in Senegal. He was tried in Senegal and found guilty of abuse Minki Birabe President Yala, just like Yahya Jammeh Taketa Nyami. Hisenabre Jani Basamaran court, it took almost 20 years. Janning a la court from Obe start la for Janabe Banna in Senegal. In the end, he was found guilty.
Ima understand. Hisen Habre was the president of Chad, and then Mo Jamal Fatah la Maraloko. Go ahead.
Exactly. So Hisen Habre, charge Nyaming is similar to what happened to Yahya Jammeh. And Yahya Jammeh, ECOWAS la hybrid court, well in the international aspect, Purka Asamanang, Purka Samba court, but also the new Attorney General, Dauda Jallo, I two bills submit in Parliament, may Parliament year passed, will be, one of them is the Special Accountability Mechanism, the TRRC bill. The laws of the Gambia, TRRC bill is already part of the laws of the Gambia. Under that bill, Yahya Jammeh can be held accountable within the local laws of the Gambia. But Gambia the problem with the Gambian law is that the Rome Statute, Gambia ma domesticate. Rome Statute, it apply nola in the Gambia because Rome Statute, that is where you can try someone for torture, for this disappearance. So it's a yeah, Jammeh under that law. But woman tara Gambia ma domesticate. So we only apply law at the hybrid court. But Gambia the madama for Jammeh nata. You see, like you try nyaming like Yankuba Ture. is also an example. He was a very senior person in the Yahya Jammeh government. He was a minister. Yankuba Turela crime soul, even though it was committed under Yahya Jammeh's time, he still tried domestically in the Gambia. He had trial and he was found guilty. He's sentenced to life. Jammeh Nanata, even though he's a former head of state, that is going to be a legal problem as a former head of state because I'm a loyalist to Mialonko. Pre-trial, damma. Pre-trial means ya muta, ya detained. About detention no minto, I loyal milsuto. Walla doko minti rek ka prevent prior court. Wala doko mo minti rek delay tactics. Wala we siala so much that abe so many years later la bro.
Mr. Mbaye. You know, you're making a very good point. Just to reinforce Ibrahim Ala question about immunity, before I come to Lamin Tamba, he asked a very specific question about whether the immunity for former presidents, because as it is right now, no constitution no kono wala beje. Konina na keta president ite kontibo no la ibarol men yalonko wala keta ibulu wato men ebe maralo la Gambia. Can this apply in Jammeh's case? Is that a very good defense for him?
No. That is not a good defense. Gambia Supreme Court, ye ruling Kele on that. Gambia Supreme Court, Gambia fam. Ya rule the court, this former government, Yahya Jammeh's government has no immunity under the constitution.
Yes, in the Yankuba Ture case before the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Yes,
Yankuba Ture la appeal tata for Supreme Court.
Supreme Court, yes.
The Supreme Court already ruled on that. These people, like Yahya Jammeh's government, the people, especially the senior people, ministers and those who are highly responsible for some of those atrocities, they are not immune. They don't have immunity under the Gambian constitution, which is already established.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mbaye. Lamin, I think I have a question for you. First, I would let you to respond to Mr. Mbaye, but still the point of procedure, Lamin, if you can just give me 1 minute. Mr. Mbaye, you mentioned that there is a case against Jammeh based on everything else that has happened, the white paper, the TRRC. So, ning adara Jammeh nata in terms of the rule of law, la procedure, ninko rule of law, loi la simfal many alon ko loi Gambia masakunda so walela. What is it mune mu menyante kele Jambela ning atra voluntarily amurta nan Gambia banko? What does the law provide for in terms of rule of law for the next steps that should happen to him?
Yeah, minse keno ning Jambinata right now. Minse keno to him locally for a detain.
Okay.
Because already coming up for Inyaming, iba detain la on the basis of the TRRC finding. TRRC finding what now is a legal document in the Gambia. Based on the TRRC finding, the madam, is a detain nole inside the Gambia. Government la white paper fanang is a legal document right now. White paper based on the white paper only is a detained knowledge in the Gambia. Not necessarily Kasamba Mile 2. He cannot be on a house arrest. Right. Because right now, y'all on the Jamela property sold Milbe Gambia. Jamela for like bring TRRC becoming. I think near Jibe legally, he could have fought as a defense sort of knowledge in the TRRC Purka Fang defend. I'm okay there. Then Jane Commission Nata Fanang, as a fan defend nole ala property soul defend, he doesn't have to come to the Gambia. Abe mole high legal legal defense le sotola nungi ala property soul defend or anything in the Gambia. I'm all beke. They will be will that full conclude will yella finding soul killer. Well, they are now based on that law is already they are legal documents now. So when you mean for the another Gambia government are mutanole. Based on the TRRC findings, the madam my mutanole fanang coming yankuba to the try in the High Court. Is it Jammeh Sambanole in the High Court? Governments are charged nole at the High Court for murder because cases will be Jeremy Along approved at TRRC because he has committed murder and disappearances.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much.
One thing, coming kafoko Jammeh fang among order the what is not something is it rely no minkang in law ko ntemang order the while you are in charge. He is the head of state and the head of the armed forces of the Gambia. So any armed forces any crimes will commit under him or a la command. So he's going to be responsible for all those things.
Thank you. Thank you, Lamin. What is your response first to him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. You had a question, Fali. You want to ask that first or you want me to go first?
No, let me just ask the question. You can address them both together. The question of misal na land, because that is something that I also address with Mr. Senior Counsel Mbaye.
Yeah.
When Jammeh lands, I want to understand realistically, is there a plan to receive him, to protect him, to push for a political comeback? What is the plan? But if you can also address some of the concerns Mr. Mbaye mentioned, because
yeah, so first and foremost, President Jammeh, whether people like it or not, our supporters all will flock to the airport and any route to wherever he's going to go, whatever. If people know he's coming, what route you have to avoid it for hours and hours because supporters will be there in numbers. What will happen when he lands? Again, it depends on how much the state knows about his return. The state then the state will take over responsibility of his security because Banko Bank Yemenja Diatae Amandiae, once Moketa head of state, you have to provide him security for foul. Even now a prison, you have to provide security for the prison cell better than anywhere else apart from the serving president. You understand that? So whether Baro Lafitala, Amal Lafala, President Jammeh Menke Jawrala, exactly the same Baro Bewalakela President Jammeh, Abe security provide lae. Ninnata Ibrahim la Nyininkaro, Ibrahim ko, Munatina Barola government 8 years, 9 years sign, a constitutional provisional change to make sure Mansakeo member Sirin Nunje, Puruka prosecute na Baral Jaoke na Jita na Bota Manseala. Ibrahim, the simple question is, Baro ya Lonne, na section 69 repeal, ni open this constitution auto. B, there will be lots of lawsuits against Barrow himself. Whatever, Barrow fangole be trial follow Janim President Jammeh bina. Because Barrow la Mansakunda mo bunjana kanila iafa, and then 13 others got injured with bullets. Barrow la Mansakunda shooting Kelejam Faraba, one did all far. Latest one onying is Mandina Rilem for Mandina ba aning acute kidney. So yajele ngatiling ngatonya for nyue. Every head of state in the world, amam possible yedung manse ato foeji ila mansakunda ama mistake wala mo manfa polisol bulokona. There is something called implied immunity accorded to every head of state worldwide, whether it's codified or not codified. Codified means constitution or wala a set of books ya safele ka foko. A president is immune for acts or omissions they carried out when they were in power. All right, among keko ni bota power. Gambia went beyond implied and they codified it. Now, Yankuba Ture manke President Oti. Yankuba Ture was an appointee of the Armed Forces Professional Ruling Council. Yes, top government official. And number two,
but Lamin, what do you have to say to people that say, for actions and omissions, understandable, but in Jammeh's case, there is a case to show that it was systematic. That's the problem.
Well, the language of the Supreme Court, actually, if I remember vividly, is that extrajudicial killings and tortures cannot encompass functions of our public officials, especially the head of the state. Not exactly, but that's what the interpretation is. We cannot, for example, say, hey, but Mansakunda Karifa, how can that be an exercise of governmental function, for example?
Well, those are the questions that need answered. Again, what I'm sitting here and saying, first and foremost, I clarify the hybrid court among set up followed by ECOWAS, the hybrid court among any legal mandate sort of follow Gambia, and number two, Nico Moeko, President Jammeh, yes, more fatally during his government. And it can mean for those who bear the greater burden or the command responsibility. Always rests with the head of state and in top officials. But when you go to criminal prosecution, you have to prove that President Jammeh himself had prior knowledge or pre-planning, premeditated events have to be shown to the court. Because President Jammeh alone, this was going to happen. He was part of it, and he did nothing to prevent it. Or President Jammeh himself was part of the act. Or Kabirin Atketa President Jammeh failed to investigate the activity. If a President Jammeh charged law to say that President Jammeh himself participated in the act, woman sort of moma prove no. Now, memo TRC, the one you're relying on, and this, Mr. Mbaye, you mentioned in the earlier.
Tamba, sorry for interrupting. Tamba, TRRC is not a court of law. TRRC la mandate they were making a finding.
Yes.
The finding sol kono molye evidence deal mile alonko. It has to be what evidence if for ya investigate further.
Yes.
Enable ya samba court. What finding sol molye testimony minke TRRC. Wadama is not enough. More fine guilty.
I know, but what investigation of Fangoman that he follow? What investigation of Fangoman that he follow? But we're talking about President Jammeh charge, Kasamba hybrid, he's got no immunity, but in Binala
Immunity like those who have the greatest responsibility, including President Jammeh, ex-President Jammeh, will be accountable. The Supreme Court la ruling in Ako, those who have the greatest responsibility. Well, constitutional immunity doesn't apply to them. Supreme Court your ruling kelefa pareda unless you have decision on in reverse. But
yes.
You have this, coming the Gambia the special accountability mechanism is a bill in the National Assembly, Attorney General Benin Pascal, and also the Special Prosecutor's Office bill. There is another law, Special Prosecutor's Office bill. Niya Jammeh nata legal mechanism in the that special prosecutor, purka appoint what a collegial government, purka special prosecutor appoint. New special prosecutor appoint. What about decide that special prosecutor? America jamming from you hear that all the time. Ning legal issues that are far complicated to a certain level. Government, the Attorney General ka special prosecutor appoint. Just recently, Trump yake, purka special prosecutor appoint, purka Epstein files will investigate. Okay, Gambia also is going to be the same thing. A special prosecutor will be appointed. That special prosecutor will decide la purka Yahya Jammeh charge.
Yeah.
Coming example for America Jammeh all the time. Will got Mola investigation or Keta Jammeh. Other investigation is similar. America legal system and in Gambia the legal system is almost the same, similar.
Yeah. I know.
Prosecutor will decide like either ka Gambia ka Yahya Jammeh charge on the domestic law. Yalong High Court, they have a special criminal division at the High Court.
Yeah.
Special criminal division, Ture charge jaileto. Try on the special criminal court at the High Court.
Yeah.
So the same system can be applied domestically. But the problem with the Gambia, Gambia la domestic law among torture. Although they are under the Rome Statute, Gambia domestic law man torture sort of. So the only way even in charge that is the special criminal court to charge him with murder.
And that's where we're talking about now. Well, I'm coming to you because I've done criminal defense for a bit. Maybe not as extensive as you are. Because Ning President Jammeh Nata, yes, anything you do extrajudicial, that's the reason Mayatinaka for extrajudicial, because Imake Lua Silola, all right?
Yeah.
But what we're going to first and foremost, charges all mandate against President Jammeh for whether the Kelebang, and we don't know that. TRC, as you said.
Only the special prosecutor can do that, to charge him, to prepare a charge warrant.
But we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Well, pre-trial. The special prosecutor will provide the warrant for arrest. That warrant will lay out the reasons why this man should be arrested.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know, the truth is, even more you can even do that to anybody. You can arrest and detain anybody. It's not just Yahya Jammeh. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. I think this is a very good, opportune moment to thank and remind the viewers that they are watching Bitilo Kacha with me, Mfali Feder and Ibrahim Sonko. Our guest here today, ex-magistrate senior counsel Lamin Mbaye and Lamin Tamba, a former executive member of the APRC. Ngawalel sore jang atol memben jibe kan dulal to alnim Bitilo la atol mem fanam bel lamaka radio do al bel moy kam Vibes FM le 106.1 FM. Lamin, is still on the question of when Jammeh comes.
Yeah.
I want us to look at that. Yeah, explain the konanara wara ning atra I silolo ndi fafta na Gambia. Ning atra wo lungon londa and ala supportal be fintila le foisita ya foko ba benduna. La fa ning kamera if Jammeh somehow ngaji drong another. Personally, I think there are a lot of practical impossibilities regarding his coming. Kujamalel be bantambilli wol nyaato minister ala na kolyandino ni nga tara man sakunda man la fi ayna bari ali nga fa drum for the sake of argument ya Jammeh a jita Gambia somehow ning man sakunda dara ya arrest airport ya mira ala supportal APRC supportal ni Jammeh face ala ya mira be munekela what would they do? Are they going to, what do you think they would do basically?
Well, I don't know what the supporters are going to do. That's the quantity of the unknown. For Iba arrest la airport, it'll be fully pro government Jammeh arrest airport because first and foremost, airport thoroughfare so tole molbita kana flatul ka landi ka ji. So even if naketa government ba arrest la, maybe be battle la natata jiata dameng. Then okay, we have case XYZ against you. Nambe arrest la to further investigate or to charge you for XYZ. Charge airport auto will be foolish. But near charge airport auto is human emotions. More malo munebekela. I can't quantify that. I can't tell you exactly. Supporters will be react la nyameng. Niko ba arrest la airport auto. I don't think they're gonna allow the supporters themselves yet at terminal auto. But from the exit from the airport Bundato Kata, anywhere you can imagine that day will be full of President Jammeh supporters. For me, APRC Bang. For more Meljikila Teta, Adama Barola Masakundato Bang, Wole Tata President Jammeh Bendung. From that gate where you enter the airport or anywhere was Silonying, nothing is gonna move because of more attendance to welcome him. The reaction, I don't know. But as you know, APRC supporters all. President Jammeh control Yamarle all the time to be law-abiding, to be peaceful. So unless we get provoked, in fact, we've been provoked so many times, Dame Alanko, we could have reacted really, really badly, but we didn't. Because Ikatali and told Tada meeting on private land, Ikanai control attack on private land. And we don't have a public address system. We don't have anything else that disturbs the peace. And we don't react in an adverse way. So the President Jammeh is in the interest of the borough government. Welcome peacefully, provide him security. Nakata anything sort of that they want to take up against him, they will have the opportunity. This is the right opportunity. So Allah fita ya Jammeh for various reasons. But I'm Allah ya Jammeh na Jumale be Jumane kang. When are we ever going to be able to find a resolution or a closure to all these allegations? Just to add.
But Lamin, I think Ikala question and Nyaming, just like Mr. Mbaye has been saying, and you also partially acknowledge, there is a case against him by virtue of, sort of from the TRC and all of that. I don't believe that this government is
that's
going to
not
allow
a
him
case.
to land.
That's not a case yet.
I'm not saying that he has been formally charged. I am saying there are serious allegations against him, and I think the government press release kono ye wole for court. He is free to come, but when he comes, the law will take its course. So based on that, Jikobe Jiko na jita.
But President Jammeh ofole, President Jammeh ko, President Jammeh ko, alabula na nata. Aya jube albe muna kelala. So alabula na muna bije mol silata men na kote.
What I want to understand is remember mutaring ala pasa album. Government would likely arrest him at the airport. Mr.
Possibly, I don't know what's going to happen.
No, ka arrest airport wonyama abe kolealale because of our loyalist soul, our supporter soul, politically. That is going to be a political landmine. It's going to be an explosion. Because more emotional, they are very powerful. They have Jamila supporter soul and all loyalist soul. It's going to be very difficult for Nanata at the airport itself. Priya arrest J. No, will be difficult. Nanata at the mechanism let trigger. Ning Atlanta in the Gambia at the mechanism let trigger. Nico mechanism is a series of actions lebita up to the point mutadaming. You know, at the Kenola just I police and arrest at the airport. It's going to be difficult. You have to finalize the legal arrest warrant. A legal arrest warrant has to be prepared. Coming in special prosecutor footing is very, very important because wala mandate to no la coma. Abekela wala la responsibility tika legal arrest warrant ning prepare. You know, ning charges all do ning prosecutor lafta. As Yahya Jammeh charge no under our domestic criminal law in the Gambia, you can charge him under our domestic criminal law. Coming up, Nyame Yankuba Ture charge Nyame under Gambia la domestic criminal law. Is a charge nole for murder, enforced disappearances, economic crime fund. Because Jane Commission fana ye economic crime, if la recommendation all kill it. Even TRRC fanang ay economic side sotole. Because yala asset soul seizle, yala asset soul identify le, economic crime bijele. So nying economic crime, torture, it was someone under our law, but for murder, it's a charge no for murder and economic crimes inside the Gambia. So domestic law can apply to him.
First, Mr. Mbaye, near President Yahya charge model, it will be difficult under the current Gambian constitution, and under the current findings of the TRRC, it'll be difficult to convict him on murder or anything like that under domestic law.
The Supreme Court has already ruled that under the Constitution.
Yankuba Toure's case is totally different. Yankuba Toure is the truth is Yankuba Toure charged in the UK. Criminal case would have collapsed from the beginning.
He would have been found guilty.
No, he won't.
Michael was charged in the United States and he was found guilty for torture. Niajibe, Switzerland, Usman Sonko was charged in Switzerland. Walla lost and in Gambia lost all day monkey killing Tifang. But Usman Sonko was found guilty. So
and to add to that,
President Bijele, Mil Bay, ye crime soul mil commit. Amankeko Usman Sonko. Near Usman Sonko Jibiate Fongoma Blota, Kamo Fa, Wala Kamo torture. He was part of a system. Usman Sonko was part of the system and he was found guilty. So there is no precedent in Jamenata, there is no mechanism, Minseke Purka try. Will be jail already in place. Hybrid court. They have a mandate. Okay? No, for
a mandate from
TRC finding. It's already there.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mbaye. You know, your points are well taken. Ibrahima, you have a question.
Yes, no question also. Love for Lamin Yininka, but let me Lamin Yininka just go commandant fai Mr. Mbaye me the wrong. Wolam fananko. Ko Jambela case ngalo ne nyao nyako ko Mr. Mbaye ya funyamen ko Rome status Gambia ma domesticate, for example, but Gambia is a signatory to it. And Nina Rajibe, Kondol Dolmia, Ngalua Dominic Karang. There is also
Ninko Rome Statute, Wolemu Luati, Duniala Carola, Meye, ICC, Lundi, International Criminal Court. Ibrahim, go ahead.
So the concept, the principle of universality. Omukule de miyalanko, Dunia Bekono, Amanjari Kafoko, Fwening treaty carry sign, former sign. Offense dolbije, wala tajirinte mania dolbije, nyoke. Wole yatina, for example, Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel Prime Minister, Alabanko manke signatory to the Rome Statute. But for example, Lamdani Munefo, Akona Furata Jana, New York, Ibamutala ya arrest. And America is not among Fonko Rome Statute in sign. And Israel for a mass sign. And they're going to invoke what is referred to as the principle of universality and also complementarity. Puruka arrest to hold them to account because human rights, wala international human rights, hada mo di wala nyanto. Abi America la ba, Gambia la ba, Africa la ba, abi mo killing it. So wo fana bi jele mi yalon ko amu kulni dal pour un semira no wala fana ko kaje ko jambe amanke gamme no dama wala ala ko tajrinte manya bi jele gane no fana ila migrant case ko ngaje TRC ko molle fana mi yalon ko yefa that are crimes against humanity in nature, for example. Although these are all allegations, science and come about findings all. But level Lamin yin kala wala mindiko. Science and bela supportal. It all hamo muneti kom nin jambe na Gambia. Puru abe muruna nane as a private citizen aitasi kanilai wala jambe la homecoming kala mindi wolong to seek for more power because what den kamira wala baki the woman cinema is jambe coming back for more political power wala jambe na the aitasi kanilai as a former president ko min keda jawra.
Well, first and foremost, Jamela na data sang legally abekela private citizen until I found Walla Molia submit as a presidential candidate, I election or win. All right. So by next year, November, ni nomination or keta and Jammeh is a candidate. Supporters all ba nominate Lale. Na lafta kalo. If they still want to make him the party leader of APRC, there's no legal obstacle in the way of Jammeh Pura Luwa Eke Mansake Otikoteng. So that's all possible. But for now, Jammeh, as we see it, Gambia is his country. Jammeh is a Gambian citizen. Until Abebola President Yahya Jammeh, he never stayed in outside of the country for this long. Yamoile. The other time he stayed longer than this, or slightly longer, maybe 6 months, was when he was doing his military courses in the United States and other places, maybe. So Jammeh ko nkamuru nanne back to the Gambia. Ama for kombinala nga Adama Barrow coup d'etat. He never said that. He's gonna come back. In fact, before he left, he said he wants to go back to Kanilai. I settled there, continue farming activities. So now Montanang.
After we clear the science and Janibi continue like ye Tamba can mean for Tenkoni Jammeh whether he's gonna contest on the APRC.
Yeah.
He's no longer the party leader for APRC. Under the laws of the Gambia, under the IEC Act, Fabakary Tombong Jatta is the current head of the APRC, as we know, is de facto.
Yeah.
So,
womo kacha dole to womo lundola kachalete because to be honest with you, Gambia la problem
okay, senior counsel, let him respond. Let him respond, and then we'll come back to
so
you.
Ibem Fokang is a conversation for another day. Aboko Gambia imantara luale tamandi kanga nyama drong. Just like what I said to you at the beginning, Yankuba Turela case was shaky. It should not have been convicted. But let's go to APRC briefly. APRC la constitution of Benjamin, the party leader is the default chairperson. As a more bino, as a more higher no. Name President Jammeh Mbaye before 2021, we all accepted it. I more appointed KJ. So therefore, now if Fabakary Tombong Jatta by another executive for on the 15th of October 2021, Fabakary Tombong Jatta had no right to convene a Congress and elect himself or get his group of supporters to elect him as the party leader. So Aboko, Ninga Samba Court, you know what happens in Gambia? Iba ajonla le abitala 5 years, 6 years that case ning and net resolve la. We wrote to IEC because party doli a similar problem also to do IEC intervened. But IEC ban far kadunka APRC la nyim problem o nyim ka resolve. We know why. All right? It's become clear why. But that conversation the kela lumkotenati. However, Fabakary Tombong Jatta baitale before ateba folam the Congress or you cannot call a Congress when you've been dismissed before Congress.
Okay, Lamin, you've made your point regarding the APRC la structure, la formation, and probably the legality, the two factions men be carrying. But do we know for a fact when Jammeh is coming? I know you slightly talked about it, but I've seen people he's coming on a Friday, on the 28th. Do we know for a fact? And if there is any indication at the level of the party supporters when he's likely to land?
No, because Jammeh does his hirings and firings on Fridays. They think because after Friday, la back on Friday. So that's more about quarter that Congress. So they're counting how many Fridays are left between now and the end of November. Well, Jammeh could come any day. Yeah, Mwele. He just lost Friday. In fact, he took the nation by surprise on a Friday. And he agreed to leave, I think, on a Friday. Maybe he flew out the next day, but he agreed to leave on a Friday. But and in the details, I'll travel details in Maolong follow. We don't know. It might be very sudden. I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Barrow himself knows about the details, but he's doing politicking outside. I think for me personally, Adam Barrow should encourage him because
what are you
Barrow
saying? Are you insinuating that Jammeh is in talks with the government?
I'm not insinuating, but I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Okay. So still on that subject, Lamin.
Yeah.
What would happen? In terms of ye jiko men soto Jammeh fangoto, but patio fangola kodo ning atara. Nsita November banda tili kononto wala ben November tema. What would happen to the party in terms of ye jiko ni lando men soto patio and Jammeh fangoto?
The party members all naturally be disappointed laleko Jammeh ko abina before end of November amanna. But if fengo fengi men ge dunia ko naka depend le because Jammeh sa for no lamina before end of November. Kudo e fontenang. So it depends on mo reason Latin amanna before end of December. Jammeh say communicate no aning party members all. But naturally ni ela feta moment na e moment kano or like a moment support ako ko binara sama. But amanna maybe flight on yine delay ta Heathrow Airport or like a transit flight or another delay. Imagine you'll be disappointed naturally. Oh my God, it could be not somanda major. But sometimes ngamen for dunjang wala Jammeh make ordinary citizen te. Yeah, so as I follow in November, but government sa na ko okay no, it's not November, but we can arrange purila na in December, or it could be the sub-regional bodies that will say, don't go to Gambia right now, wait until XYZ so that we can work out stuff. Because Tonya, before Jammeh bola Gambia, ECOWAS, AU, and UN, joint communication, they published it. And they will never publish it unless all the parties agreed to the joint communique. For diata mole bang, Famandia mole bang, wale signed, wale agreed, wale published, it will sabo bela website also. AU, ECOWAS, UN. And what 14-point joint communication, Abijela still, Abela website also still. So therefore, moment potala bankota ako. Ilafitaka fitino membo na Bangkok and I will not accept it. I'm gonna leave for the sake of peace.
No.
Aketa Gambia dingole everybody should encourage Barrow government. Yeah. Inyata Barrow government encourage like Africa Abota Jammeh to keep the peace.
Points all for me along legally. You cannot rely on those points. You can 14-point mean for thing. That MOU did not grant him immunity.
I'm not talking about immunity at this point. The immunity I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the joint communique Mayatin na Jammeh Botajang in the end and left to keep the peace. But it's in the interest of Gambia citizens.
When you guarantees le deal woman guarantee deal, so that communique is not important from right now.
Okay, so the communication namang important. This is what I was talking about before. Ntol kamem fuaning kamem bara is different, and we need to stop that because more bota Gambia to keep the peace. Abota je ko ha okay ne lay bota wala nying idakota menna nta fulfill la. Sama ne Adama Barrow ko ntebola Gambia because ngajele menke President Yahya anene la bota imanala ko sombe sila janne I'll hold out for the worse or for the better. Albarale binakela kelolo binakela drunk. So when we agree things nga peace maintain and we achieved what we wanted, at least I said doya nyaw nyan safa okay. Murunang ila koda dam tambi jambe killing deal you stay there, will provide the security. Nakata you want to charge him for individual cases, then Yajube for domestic law, you have powers to do it. If you want to do that, Jammeh Fanambala defense totally. You understand?
Thank you. Abarakabake, ala barakabake, Lamin Tamba, Lamin Mbaye, Lamay Lalu, Jibe Lalu, Albedada, Ngal Beja, Ngal Tentu. We have almost 900 live audience watching us across YouTube and in Facebook. Wani men be Lamay Kang Radio to Gabe Banko Kang Imanke Kilinti. Ngal Beja, Ngal Tentu. Bao Ngal Soto Jam Fanang. Mbal Dani La Fanang. Also subscribe na YouTube channel Loro. Atol membe jibe loke kan albe dara dunia ko na le wado soro dron al sita YouTube al subscribe na channel lo na subscribe ta je o fana mu fanna dol di me alon ko al sen sembentandi no jang Bitilo because na subscribe ta ni nga fengo pen duli ni nga ñi ñong kacha sifal so doron albe notification so la kala mutandi ko kacha nyimbe ke kanne bari fanan akatin na la fanan kibaro ka janjan no mo jamal fanan kaje so nal so keno nye mba o beddi ala nyaben kontan la ben sewola aton me mo ka radio do albe mo kam Vibes FM le 106.1 FM alal badi malum falli fadera ani Ibrahima Soko. Ibrahima, you have a question for Mr. Mbaye ni oboda wodo we look at the legal questions nga men soto jang ning nga jibe fo Gambia nga kiti bundal soto le kontor bo bundal men yalon ko wol se jambe konti bono Gambia loi en so munela wo kono anim fana mun kullel fana belala wol koma ni nga tara ngo simpalta Ibrahima bismillah.
Yes. Funny question for Mbe Dani la doman ninka daron lafta Lamin niatran kana jamfa ni se jabiro su jani doman ya betala but lafa Lamin nyinin kala nyinala then sita I have an admissibility question lafa Mr. Mbaye nyinin kala min sin sa temu magistrate hold but Lamin nim fana kamira nyina baba kele mune atinna APRC loyalist wala APRC supporter anta presuppose ko wala ka foko niya jambe sida gambe ndunga amam finti kabrin 2016 election on Banda. Well, Jambe Nata airport ya arrested. There is an assumption ko Stanobe Wulla Banko Kanda. Why is that an assumption? Ko Jambe, let me just finish. Jambe, like every other Gambian, Gambian diploma. Like, for example, police on the arrest now on the basis that there is reason to believe that a crime will commit. Why you will right? So there is a belief ko nin Jambe ko former president Mobalo. But why is it that there is always a belief ko nin Jambe arrested wrong? APRC supporter be setano that in terms of defending Gambia. This is a question that I really
I think that I think that belief is more like for wrong because at the end of the day APRC maumanya sifa soto nunjang before ya fabaka tomba njata commandile nunjang for questioning. I think ye Sidinja commanding nung ye Rambo commanding nung ye other people all commandile nunjang for questioning before. In fact ye na mall attack nunjang ne mankaman kundabu Sumbala 3 times other places. But in the supporters all the reaction was always measured. We never went out Katinyaro Kedulalto. We never went out to burn down police stations wala Kadulal attack. Since Jammeh bought Gambia for B, we have been the most law-abiding people. In fact, where we have been given permits before, in a mall attack, on top of that, our supporters didn't go ahead and create commotion. So molka foko ha ni Jammeh arrest abe kala tene mol abe mol ku ko abe mol yala modol ni social media norma wala WhatsApp iba mela ko he tonya sato nin Jammeh arrest be sato bele janela. No, it's not going to work like that. Obviously Ninja Menata after car arrest nyale better laje. They have to have good reasons. You cannot just go around, not just Jammeh, because yente jele near UDP supporter abuse nka wuli lenga UDP supporter defend. Near GDC supporter abuse nka wuli lenga defend. Near APRC supporter nka defend le. Ntol bele nyanta wuli la simultaneously nim fembe je me yalon ko amanke ani loi mang tanyola mbele nyanta wulila to condemn these things. So nin Jammeh nata wati farak ekata ka sikanang and taking to no, there's no reason. Jammeh is like any other Gambian citizen. Neil after to call him to questioning or they detain him. Gambia B, I don't owe the state anything. I've not committed any crime as far as I know. But nin jita Gambia ko beng arrest la, I'll welcome it. Oh, you beng arrest la for what reason? Let me know why you're arresting me. Every citizen nin state lafitake arrest, ibe arrest lale based on suspicion or well-founded reasoning. But wati na Lamin Tamba because I'm APRC laying arrest. At some point, it fango ba for they can arrest Nyame, they're just intimidating him. They're just abusing him, persecution. So ntol nin President Yahya Jammeh as Mbaye Memfo, and I think many Gambians will agree, it will be a bad decision for arrest airport. Abula itala kordato, provide him security, ex-presidential benefits bijele. Na keta mechanisms all bijele that do not violate our constitution and our statutes that we have in the Gambia. Ikwe ba charge lala. President Jammeh will have equal representation like any other person as a defense law firm sort of know, they can bring up the defense against whatever charges they proffer against him. But I can't focus on the banko jani abe security threaten la no abe molle ko na ne model la dia modrong. Yes, I know emotional triggers, but those emotional triggers eventually Molba understand na ko closer to Sotonola, full accountability to Sotonola until President Jammeh Diamata, yes, I knew about this and I did XYZ. Yes, I knew about this, I did nothing. Or yes, I knew about this, but I couldn't get the opportunity to do XYZ. So what be nyanta kala muntumale nim President Jammeh nat. Abe Damen B case the court purka President Jammeh try. There's no constitutional bar to stop President Jammeh running for office. Fentije, ni after car charge, they have to investigate TRC findings further, Jammeh Commissioner findings further. If they think they got solid evidence that will incriminate him, then they are charged. But B Abedam and B, Nanata, he's to be treated like a free citizen, innocent until proven guilty.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
I agree with him.
Mr.
Alanin point.
Mr. Mbaye.
Point. No, you
Ibrahima
Tamba point me for the left over emphasize la demanding rek Alanin last point. Kona nata. It's possible na nata. Government for the yala mechanism is going to trigger a legal mechanism to what kenola immediately. As an annual up to a year or two, sajaning even any arrest fenko binana. Because nothing for it already the Attorney General has tabled a bill in the National Assembly for the special prosecutor. Will be man ke follow fan. Hybrid court, ECOWAS la hybrid court for aiming for woman established follow. It's possible for a reasonable person, Ninja Menata BBB Alanta Gambia, not BBB arrest. There must be, it triggers a legal mechanism. That legal mechanism at it now immediately. While the government is preparing its case against him, Liberator anytime against the arrest warrant to prepare. That is going to be done by the special prosecutor. What we are established, the special prosecutor sort of already. Will about decide whether to charge him under domestic law, under the Gambian law, or the ECOWAS learning hybrid court. Hybrid court can be triggered. Ninjame Lanta Gambia BBB hybrid court be triggered. Hybrid court doesn't mean that if a court set up la Gambia lefang. ECOWAS Libo was set up. They can set it up anywhere in Ghana because Ghana the victims also today. It can be in Nigeria or anywhere. ECOWAS law hybrid court can try Jammeh immediately. But also coming after Nyame near Jenka Yankuba Tureta near law GB. President is very important in law. President is mil tambita example on mil tambita you will use purka B ka tamandi B. Yankuba Ture is tried under our domestic law. Hybrid court international jurisprudence mantara Yankuba Ture la case kono. And Yankuba Ture, we all know a case happened in Gambia. But the international side tandila, wanga wofanana example of dealer. Michael Sankoria, United States, Usman Sonko, Switzerland, will be mu president solidity.
They're totally different cases.
Thank you.
They're
Thank you very much, Mr. Mbaye, Mr. Tamba.
They're very different.
Legal mechanisms ka time tally. It's not immediate. As in no Gambia, I see for 1 year, 2 years, janning anything.
Mr.
Mbaye, on that point, on that specific point, let's say, for example, sign Jammeh, in fact, nying janning yentile konondo banana na Gambia. Ya bula da kanila ala futo Gambia trigger for the government to have a special prosecutor or like ECOWAS for a court that Puruka Jammeh trial, for example. Let's just say will be a ketale. Eventually, in some Sanji Kile wala Sanji Flanyado. Nothing in Kalamina, Wolam Nindiko, Nalong Isida Lua Bunato Gambia, Magistrate, your experience so that you quote back. The argument of admissibility, for example, Wolam Nindiko, you call me Alanko Ye Kafunyola, Kabrin Kisikis Roketa, TRC a Molming interview. I need Yamota Milia, I need Kisikiro, your findings will be based sort of. Obviously, Abitala cordle. TRC manke court, TRC mu fenedemi alonko a court la mulunyal sort of manke luabu, a manke court, the konna court will be nyami. So let me just finish the question is that how do we reconcile is some of those findings and how some of those findings were collected? Are we going to expect a situation where admissibility questions may in fact be troubling because also in case if I did a back, problem you know, whether in evidence or gather TRC for admit la no bang na high court or in court dol mi Africa band middle on the
Okay. TRC la findings is not legal. it will apply NOLA in court. That was done in the settings of a finding that TRRC la investigation or minke. Ning special prosecutor appointer. That special prosecutor will do a prosecutorial investigation. Wofanambala own investigation ole kela. This thing can take years. Prosecutor
Yeah.
bala own investigation ole tal. TRRC law findings all witnesses all maybe witness. They can need witnesses from TRRC. Okay, if a witness also from TRRC based on the severity of
they have to rely
but
on TRC findings. So I think the act was clear about that too. They have to.
no, those findings are not. They cannot be admissible in court. TRRC law findings. So it has some admit in court as they are going to be evidence anyway.
Yes.
Will be killer evidence. Bari nim prosecutor ning set up the prosecutor bala own investigation ole killer. Ka make sure abenin charge la on the statute me along code they are ironclad. Ala defense at anything can with those charges abenin
Will be
sambalan.
Walleto, and I can tell you things will get very difficult at that point.
Delay,
Yeah.
pre-trial delay, pre-trial that jamena nata nga fo nyame abetarla yale o ay bla ni abetarla damen o government be damen dila la be stela damen as a citizen as a former head of state maybe is possible was kenole it's possible malo for government bo lekera but now would lato that is when this legal mechanism is
legal
triggered.
processes will kick into motion.
Yes,
Okay.
legal process
So
will kick in la woleto, including the special prosecutor. Mimba decide la, Fabi Jammeh charge la on the international law that is torture. Me alonko is it can only come under the Rome statute. Gambia more domesticate follow. But there is also possibility that it's a charge no under domestic law for murder. Being disappearance, enforced disappearance is all. So he can either use the domestic law or he can use the international law, hybrid court or the Gambia, the High Court Special Tribunal, Special Criminal Division. They can try him.
But lafa ke nyininka walela yalong. There is one thing to have existing legal systems like and institutions. We have that in Gambia. Ngakiti also all the way to Supreme Court. Tonyala Yankuba Toure was tried successfully, but Jambela case is different in the sense that he's a former head of state. A former head of state with loyal supporters. And Nkamui Fanang still with loyalists in the army. I'm not insinuating that the state doesn't have the capacity to to ensure Menyantakela Ike. But he's a former head of state. So based on your experience as a former magistrate, you probably understand the bench more than at least Do you believe that Gambia legal and in other governance institutions ilokuta nole puruka president koto la kitio nin kontiboro be keno kanyanta kala nyameng? For example, nyaade ngi nka wala because nka jele other cases all ka soto jenne many along ko they are not as highly charged. Isembo mo wara ko jammeta as a former head of state. I can give you an example. We saw the gala protesters yela kitio muta jenne biri yewole ke chocho sembo warata protestal findita dorong jeninje mansakunda e ibula bella jeninje ngaje case nyimfama is not going anywhere. So do you think we have the legal capacity, the institutional capacity to try a former head of state like Jammeh? Because kukilimbe je menkoita niye Jammeh muta iko ka samba kitiola ya soron damendo mafo ko alala lungolu ne bara futa nyanya nyama ni wadi botala supportal kwesita je ko bita balamba itan dola ni asamba court lungolu fana you can expect a lot of people to go and support solidarity or ifindije. Do you think Gambia has what it takes nakiti ngoli asembo sodore anin na joran ko wolo membe mansa kundabu to be able to try a former head of state in the Gambia without violence or chaos?
Nka wale fo iten mbota wale fo kay sign thing ko already the attorney general already there is something TRRC finding is a capacity, is part of that legal capacity coming for whether Gambia legal capacity to the bank for we have the means to bring him to court. TRRC finding is a part of a legal capacity, it's a legal document. Government white paper is part of that legal capacity. Legal capacity is just one thing, legal capacity. Legal capacity, it encompasses a lot of things. TRRC la finding is legal. Government la white paper is legal. Then in two bills, there are two bills in the National Assembly, government left them passed in the what they will be passed. One of the bill is the what is it? That is the special accountability mechanism. The second one is the special prosecutor's office.
No, Mr. Mbaye, I understand like I'm saying on paper, theoretically, but I'm talking about the practical implications. In practice, whether the state has we have what it takes to be able to conduct trial for a former head of state. We have seen less sensitive cases like the Gala protesters. You know, killing Pula Chocho Kuma, some of them were even bailed based on, according to the magistrate, due process, but bring Chocho Kumara Yebula. So I'm just saying, do you think we have what it takes to be able to try Jammeh in Gambia?
Yes. Yes, we have what it takes to try Jammeh inside Gambia or outside Gambia. Two possibilities, always inside the Gambia under domestic law or outside the Gambia under the ECOWAS hybrid court. Hybrid courts is set up in Gambia. But new hybrid court set up that they need security, they need witness protection, they need evidence. If they collect TRC evidence is not enough. They have to if the evidence collect done by the special prosecutor. So under domestic law, is a charge under Gambian law or internationally by the ECOWAS hybrid court. ECOWAS bedamengi fanambe standby rinde. Ninku mante keko molle ba diamu kam politically re. ECOWAS fanambe standby rinde. ECOWAS la forces be Gambia le. Well, they have an international mandate under ECOWAS hybrid court. Niwo ECOWAS forces only Jammeh arrest. They can do it under the ECOWAS mandate. Niya Kea arrest. Am I morning kidding loyalist means supporter Sultanana with guns and bombs, Purkanaka, security forces all kele. There will be a lot of demonstration, there will be a lot of commotion, civil unrest besotolale. Wasifa government batrala ko wasifa le avoid. Civil commotion but Kafoko he where Gambia capacity sort of. We have
Lamin, you wanted to respond?
Yeah, I wanted to respond. First and foremost, we have seen various opinions come for Gambia capacity sort of President Yahya prosecute. No, under the current statutes, no. The hybrid court set up there, they have to create a legal avenue for the hybrid court to try President Jammeh based on what? Because at the end of the day, the constitution of the Gambia is the supreme law of the land. Yes, true, anything happen to extrajudicial. If you go and start killing people random, you're not allowed to do that under any law. Yeah, Moile. But what we have here, we know 100%, well, not 100%, we know to a large degree that President Jammeh himself was never a principal in any of the acts. All right? So, if I charge the Munela, I tell him no president when these crimes were taking place. So, you're basically charging him.
Under the TRRC findings.
Yeah, TRRC, nobody at TRRC said President Jammeh had to move far. Nobody. The only person Manco all the time, yes, the orders came from President Jammeh. How did you know? I heard somebody on the other side of the phone saying, yes, sir, yes, sir. How can you rely on that?
Is here evidence. Molio fully at the TRRC. It's no need to get into details of that.
Yeah, okay. So
okay. Ye mol fale under his order. Ye kumolu kuntu. Ye kumo samana ya tanda la ko this ye order mindi puka fa fila kumo fa.
We've got problems believing that, but we'll leave that to another day. I have a lot of problems believing that those witness testimonies.
Okay, Mr. Mbaye, I know we talked about it briefly, probably the potential legal defenses, and Lamin has also been persistently making a case for Jammeh against some of the things many along they are coming up. As a lawyer, because Jammeh he's not afraid to face the law. He said, I will come, arrest me and take me to court. I'm not afraid. This is a paraphrasing of I said minimum for what certain commando. Just to play, the devil's advocate here. What possible legal defenses are available to him that you think probably not legal defense so that they can use that as a defense?
One of the most important legal defense, Tambabole buttress Kanung all along, immunity. As a former head of state, immunity. Yeah. A very good legal defense lady for him. Ntenga wole na mind ye wole dimna ko immunity asitano under the immunity, but immunity coming out for nyami already the Gambia Supreme Court rule ko those with the highest responsibility, including the former head of state, are not immune from the constitution. They are not granted immunity by the Gambian constitution. So it will let immunity. Those kind of issues like legal obstacle to me a la defense. It's all immunity follow no 1 year, 2 year iba challenge. Even the arrest warrant can be challenged by the defense. Even arrest warrant kataka arrest your warrant name prepare. Warrant is a legal document. Put kataka arrest. Near legal document on him prepare. A legal defense be challenge you kumasila to that arrest warrant le follow la.
Okay.
Then you come for that state la. Can you mean immunity mean for anything as a former head of state? What is a very big challenge. It's gonna take a long time. Pulka immunity obstacle on government tambi wala. You continue pulka prosecute. But if Gambia man capacity so Gambia capacity so domestically.
Okay.
They have capacity domestically to challenge him.
Okay.
So that's one. Yeah, that's one defense. Immunity is one defense. The second defense, because at the moment we're all speculating. We don't know whether they're going to charge him for murder or they're going to charge him for complicity. We don't know. But the other defense is now Moijan TRRC ko. Every time a crime of somebody being killed or somebody gone missing was reported, an investigation was launched, and a panel was constituted to investigate the particular crime. There's always been a panel. So head of state dunia kono ke charge monela usually itele benung power at the time because for command responsibility of those with the greater burden. But you have to satisfy 3 facets of those. Did you have prior knowledge of the act and did nothing about it? If you didn't have prior knowledge, were you aware that the act has been committed and you did nothing about it? Or whether the act has been committed among anything KJ at all. But TRRC witnesses Sultan Yariko, Jammeh Panel Institute every time to investigate each of the crimes at AML long that's been reported and is aware of. And those have been investigated. The panels came with their recommendations, and those recommendations for your implement, we don't know. For your implement partially or fully or not at all, we don't know. So Nakada Jammeh satisfy those 3 elements. Yeah, I wasn't aware of all these things. But the Cabriya report kang nga panelo settle, panelo investigation and we implemented the recommendations. So
okay, thank you.
Recommendation on I implement whether Jammeh knows or not. Those are the areas about trial amendment because nobody actually said nga Jammeh jela kido ta karibung. Modole afaya kungo sama nga itandina. We had those testimonies, but those testimonies, the same Gambian all day. Melbe Kumul Folaye, the same people who come and sit down and say the same things against Barrow. Don't take TRRC MND. It just gave the public and it just gave the public.
You can. It's also to know on circumstantial evidence.
Yeah, circumstantial evidence. Okay, I'm coming. Yeah, I'm coming. Circumstantial evidence but every head of state better than in prison. Niata circumstantial evidence. Every head of state will be in prison. That's a guarantee.
Lamin, thank you. Lamin, thank you very much. Mr. Mbaye, I have a question for you, and probably, either one of you, Lamin or Ibrahima, you can also jump in. The question is, there is always a tension between justice for the victims, but also stability for the country. you know to nyalla laftale konti boro yake bari fanan dol kam mira wala mu banko la tenk moti kayro nin tenk wani sabaro saying itala miroro ning atara jamme murtanan iti amira man sakunda nyanda nyin ko balance la nyaari de based on your experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ndenga yalonka funung immunity as a former head of state. Another defense means you will know just like you questioning for is a little bit related to it. It can be politically motivated. What is a very good defense? Kanajibede in law as a funo leko ala prosecution is politically motivated to prevent him from coming back to power or to prevent him from participating in the Gambia political system. What is a very good defense? Me alonko those defense sifal katale it can take ad infinitum, like indefinitely. If a defense need challenge direct from one court to another, that is a very good defense. Political motivation. The Gambia political situation here next year we are going to have a general election, presidential election. So alana ya time yamming, the timing from is a problem. Natra another Gambia right now. The government should be involved. Purka arrest, purka prosecute. Will be na a political motivation as a defense. It's going to create a problem for government. Would be it has to do with capacity, federal capacity. Government has the capacity. Okay, because even internationally now okay defense it is on. Examples as everywhere. Donald Trump in the United States, he has 91 different charges against him. But always he insists on this political motivation. The motive for these people to try him for all these cases is because of politics. They don't want him to come back to power. So Jammeh, political motivation can be a good reason for him, a good defense for him.
Okay, talking about politics, Ibrahim, go ahead. I wanted to throw a political question to Mr. Tamba.
Yeah, well, you can tell about different thing now. Just go ahead.
So Lamin Tamba, since senior counsel is talking about politics, do you see a political way out for Jammeh? We are approaching an election year, and literally we are into it because we have less than 1 year to the elections in November. Do you see a way out for him politically? Because Jammeh in timing, even in terms of the dissemination of the message, I mean, he could have just simply released a WhatsApp message, but he called them to a rally in Kanilai. So Dola reading into all of that is that this is all political messaging. Jammeh is trying to position himself because he's looking for leverage. Just like he did. So do you see a way out for Jammeh politically, given that, okay, do you see a way basically, and what would the APRC do if a political avenue avails itself?
Yalo ko nisi koto buka nyamo tinya. President Jammeh sa fono APRC Executive ole ko ala keten kana senane, and he could keep it quiet and come and surprise everybody. But President Jammeh is in a privileged position. Me alonko. 8 years later, his political influence hasn't waned. Ala politik sembonyi mantala bake. Atalata le demanding maybe, but among tala to a point me alonko molbe nyana no lala. But yalong 2-3 weeks ago nga post safi no njam moli amira no be feale la. Nko President Jammeh is in a vantage position. Dame alonko ane Adam Barrow se dilo strike no le. I Murunang, I Tara Gambia, and then benefit that way politically, and Adama Barrow election will win next year and serve another term. President Jammeh Finansa Jubian because near mathematics sold Jubian in political influence. Reconciliation or gender betariala because after 9 years, Adama Barrow mang interest to reconcile with President Jammeh. What he did in 2021 was just a means of puru at a election will win 2021, not genuine reconciliation. But a B, ni tonya APRC President Jammeh ning UDP ning GDC ning do tarata nyokang. Obviously, APRC is the third most powerful force in Gambian politics. Nin UDP tata, barobe jilale. That's guaranteed. If we unite as an opposition, ntolte dunna unity me alonko our partners in the alliance are seeking to prosecute President Jammeh. But reconciliation, accountability has to happen but reconciliation still be jubela because reconciliation no keta banko me alanko worse crimes happened than Gambia. Menketa South Africa was worse than Gambia. Menketa Sierra Leone was worse than Gambia. But reconciliation still is hard, and I sympathize with the genuine victims of President Jammeh's government. But at some point, we're going to have to find a close home, and to cement, to make it a formidable unit. Kagambia Sambana Nyoka Pungata Nyato, UDP la APRC la antagonism, ni wobota jerek, Gambia be unite la be stable la bitala Nyato. The point of contention has always been UDP APRC at loggerheads all the time. New two forces all unite, Barobe Jilale. And President Jammeh will have a voice. For Bakela statesman or letibang. Fomba nominate like a ECOWAS chair to Sama for AU chair Sama Bank. We don't know. But President Jammeh has got strong political selling points. Abedaming. It's almost like political gold dust lebabulu. Naya sprinkle daming or Mari lebetambila. Yeah, so leverage babu labe damen bi. But nana ta fanang supporters ko hani malafini baro elo, malafini UDP lo lafta dama elo nge support be win lale. Atuta telebulo he has to do his political calculus jube for supporters all ba tam min lalabang. Nia tam min de fabe win labang. He needs to weigh out those options.
But Lamin, what do you say to the argument that to have a leader covering 1994, one of the parties on court? For another bottom man sayala in 2016 atata exile for be a sitting exile atele hani bi mo koten amal lafi mo koten na nyaton kala mo jambe long ikela mo yalon ko hani bi ak lafi man sala anwa ko fole in terms of kamol bay party nyin kono anen jumale dula party nyin kono the alla luwa sembo nyin diala it almost like mo kilina marta party la du ko na la banda ko atele marta mo mel so atol alla party going into 2026 is there any possibility at all? Ko nin Jamaica accountability meaningful. Wala the Jamaican because again, to have respect for the victims here is to make the point. Reconciliation bina dauda accountability follow the killer. Reconciliation accountability man kino. So I think nyanto follow. But absolutely. Without Yajimbe, for party everything has to be around Jambe. Nin Jambe man say nin Jambe man murunang. Everything has to be around this single individual who became the most powerful person in the country and still holds the party to ransom. Why can the party move out Jammeh?
No, Abedameng, it's not like Ninja Metiye party to Tamala or the party revolves around Jammeh alone. But the democracy letter. Even though many people come from Jammeh government, manke democratic government, we still had the principles of electing leaders. All right. So atuta members all lebulo. Ni APRC members all overwhelmingly said Jammeh tambendila. APRC la constitution no aman term limit soto. It's just like the Gambian constitution. It's open-ended. Ni members all come Jammeh tambendila. Jammeh betambela will even though Modolte la filala, that's how it will go. Yeah. Well, Nabe Exile, the party has to make that choice. Na before the election next year. Okay, Jametina. Modo Jube Membe Lola, party Toyala. So the party has to take that decision because 2021, Ntarata Jere thinking he's going to come back, Amanana, we went into alliance with the GDC. So for the same thing, Lebekela next year, we don't know. But in Nanata, and the members say, Jammeh is our best chance, he's our candidate, we're going to put him forward. We can't do anything but to support him 100%. Nanata Fana members all kohane, Ibrahima walam falle mbole tala ngalonde Jammeh yela tamo sotole until we're going to go to Congress and we're going to pick a different leader atuta party members all lebulu.
Thank you.
But constitution on your term limit kejo.
Thank you very much, Lamin. I have one last question for each one of you, and then we will call it a night. But just a quick one, yes or no? Would APRC go into alliance with UDP? You mentioned UDP briefly. Would you see that happening?
It's never impossible.
Okay, all right. So, Mr. Mbaye, my last question to you, I know probably Ibrahim has questions too. If you had to advise the Gambian state, Bitilo, in one sentence, if Jammeh appears at the airport, what should be the first legal step that the government would take? Just briefly.
Arrest him.
Arrest him. Mr. Tamba,
Because
ning jambe murtana Gambia.
One shot. Arrest him. The reason he's going to be arrested is because of the severity of the offenses that are alleged against him.
Okay. Lamin lafa kere nyininga mena. Equally very short answer, 10 seconds. Ninja Jembe Murtanang, what do you think at all costs the government must avoid?
The government must avoid arresting him at the airport, certainly not at the airport, and certainly not immediately after his return. The government should take their time and ensure they've got very strong reasons to arrest him if they have to.
Ibrahima, your last words, if you have any questions for them.
No, man questions level in kind for Kafu Doronko, Lamin Mr. Mbaye, it's been absolutely incredible. Allah submission Allah kacha diada babake. I'll be in middle also me alonko. I feel like Gambia nyando kacha sifales. So mafala ko Allah baraka baba to come here to have this conversation with us. I really enjoyed my time talking to both of you. So thank you very much.
Indeed. Okay. Baraka Bake Ibrahima Sonko, Mr. Lamin Tamba, APRC supporter, former executive member, and senior counsel Lamin Mbaye. Lamin Mbaye used to be principal magistrate, Banjul City Council. Mbasotala Jenne, not a special edition sotlale to look at his journey across our legal system. Mole me alonka meteja doko keje kaya fanyameng itulel munu University of the Gambia first law student already. Aning Edward Nyolu kata Dawda Jallo Nyolu and I think principal magistrate ya jambel time me alonko jambe ba tandim fulo. I think it's fair to say that. So it will be very interesting to look at your journey through that system. Landmark cases all many alonko so tam besot la jenne inshallah next week nge jay nge tendu dan la moy lalu njibe lalu fanang albe Dawda ngal jay ngal tendu ngal je atul mo jamale le saferol ke kala opinionol di for Facebook lem bam for YouTube lem kondanta ngal soto jang na Keba from Bamba Mas also is watching, and he has some very interesting comments for both Lamin and Mr. Mbaye. I'm also seeing comments from Landinho Lumbebe Jela. Ngal bolo say Omar Wally man kafuno mabi, bari na fanambe kacha sotlale probably sometime during this weekend to look at what is being said diplomatically and at the level of the state. He probably has a lot of updates ala from Siala in terms of the latest information nga mensoto regarding Jamela Kobelarim Bulomendo. So Bajibelale bi wara sinin soma jani ñu weekend obe ban na refanam bina jenne nga dinka wokono nga jibe bari lamin fulol ngal jey ngal tentu kacha diata kekuda ko Ibrahima ya fa nyameng. I think this is very nice. Sel kacha no ngal la moy ñola wato man sonka man ñoneng. So it's very it was very nice katul mo flow so jang ala baraka bake ngal jay ngal tentu aton mem fanam bella mo ka radio do Gambe banko kan al nim vibes FM len 106.1 FM nsa fali fanan ko aton mem bebe njibe kan ngal dani aleta na YouTube ale subscribe na channel lodo nali woke kon ka fa nyamen ak kibaro janya sonandile nal subscribe ta ale bella nyimma ninga ñi ñon kacha sifal dadi wara nga video kote wol dunde dorom al bekela mo fololti men be notification o sotla ani ninga dundal bajela anda fana ka jenyo fana so enendile alma tilo to di ala alma be tan kala kata rin kata to la wassalam ala baraka bake
thank you
thank you